And now, Giant Sports Talk Live. Here are your hosts, Eric and Glenn.
We're talking Giants every day. From McCovey Cove to the Oracle Park lights, Eric and Glenn keep the fire burning bright, fighting for the glory, no matter what it costs us, breaking down the moments from the wins to the losses. Giant Sports Talk, we're here for the ride. Eric and Glenn with the fan base pride, talking dreams, will they contend? But we'll back the Giants till the very end. Let's go, Giants! Yes, yes, yes! Oh! Eric and Glenn breaking it down, all Giants all the time.
All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Giant Sports Talk Live here on this Monday night, March 3rd. Here we are already in March. Holy crap, man. Time is flying by. Let me kick the fan on. It's going to get a little warm in here, I think, especially with today's topic. Hopefully everyone had a great weekend, had a good Monday. We were on a hot corner last night. That was a lot of fun over there with Glenn, Dan, Lou. I see Lou's in the chat. What's up, Lou? I saw Dan. He's chatting, talking about the old timers. It looks like they're getting a discount. I'm going to have to hear a little bit more about that. But yeah, a lot of fun last night, man. It was, what was that? Academy night last night. We were talking about some of our favorite sports movies. There's a lot of fun. Good stuff. All right. So that's legit. All right, here, let's kick it right off. What's up? Lou says the great news is Giants are so desperate to sell tickets, they now have a senior and over 60 special price. No shit. Wow. Okay. Okay. Hey, it is what it is. You know, they're trying to get butts in seats, right? And I guess they figured, hey, let's just let's discount it for a certain segment of the population. Hey, do they have anything for military? Probably not, right, Lou? Do they have anything for the military? That would be interesting. Anything, any kind of veteran discount. That would be nice. You know, you'll attract a lot of people with veteran discounts. No doubt about it. Tell me about it. Anyways, earlier today, guys, we'll get into it. Susan Slusser had an article come out talking specifically about Corbin Burnes and how that all went down in the off season. And what's up, Cole? Yeah, let's get into this. I was wrong. I think all of us in the chat were wrong. You know, I think that there was a segment out there saying, oh, the Giants were offering the same. He just did it for the kids, right? He did it because he had twins, so he wanted to go to Arizona. I said the Giants were in on it from the get-go because you don't have your players out there trying to promote the guy to get him to get, you know, or I should say recruit. And yeah, I was like, oh no, they're in it. Well, I was wrong too. And I think this is the worst of all the scenarios that could have been even talked about, right? The Giants weren't even trying, guys. They weren't even trying. Let's get right into the article. Why don't we? Let's get right into it. Again, guys, I got a poll out there. I've had that poll up there since I put up the show. It's been up there for, goodness, I think over an hour now. But yeah, I'm interested. Currently, the poll shows 62% say no. The question I ask is, are you okay with the Giants not seriously pursuing Corbin Burnes? 63% say no. 37% say yes. 30 votes in so far. So go out there and vote. I'll keep it up for a while. All right, here's the byline. Again, this is by Susan Slusser today. New D-back Corbin Burnes on Giants' efforts to sign him. Not comparable. Not comparable, guys. Some of these quotes are going to, depending on what type of fan you are, you know, I'm not casting judgment, not saying whether you're a good or a bad fan, but depending how you look at things, how you are as a fan, it's either going to piss you off or you're just going to be like, whatever. So let's take a look. Who knows? I'm just using those two scenarios. It could be something in between as well. Again, Susan Slusser earlier today. For a time, this winter, San Francisco Giants are the best to land Cy Young winner Corbin Burnes, who played at St. Mary's. Okay, let's start with that. I was high on it, especially. I mean, I was kind of high on him even before they signed Willie Adames. But after they got Willie Adames, I mean, you could go look back at some of the old streams we had. I was like, man, you get Corbin Burnes or you get Willie Adames, you're guaranteed to get Corbin Burnes. He played behind him. If he was a good teammate, as everyone is saying, I'm not saying that he isn't. Hey, that's even it sweetens the pot, so to speak, to get a pitcher like that. You're in a pitcher's ballpark. Giants have money to spend, right? So I didn't think that was going to be an obstacle. So I was like, okay, they're in this. And guys, you saw me back here. I said, take a deep breath, right? Hand through the nose, out through the mouth. Corbin Burnes is going to sign with the San Francisco Giants. I said that over and over. Well, was not meant to be. I was totally off. Okay, let's keep getting it. And again, kind of to what she's saying here in the very beginning, they were the best bet to land a Cy Young winner, Corbin Burnes. Played college ball there in the Bay Area, St. Mary's. Grew up in Bakersfield, right? Yeah. All right, here we go. As it turned out, the Giants were nowhere close. Nowhere close to competitive in their pursuit of the right-hander. Burnes said after his 2 1/3 innings of work for the Diamondbacks at Salt River. Nowhere close to competitive. Nowhere close to competitive. Gets better. We had some teams. These are quotes. Okay. See the quotes? These are quotes from the man himself, Corbin Burnes. We had some teams that were aggressive. The Giants weren't one of them. Burnes told the Chronicle they were just kind of slow, dragging their feet. I don't get it. What you got there, Mike? Hold on, let me see. I would like to hear your opinion, Eric, on the management calling him out on the Chronicle. Who is calling who out? Val, who got who called? I'll get back to it, but you got to tell me who is being called out so I can kind of have an idea of what's going on. But again, here we are. Some teams were aggressive. The Giants weren't one of them. How can they not be one of the aggressive ones, guys? Look, I understand. I understand this is spilt milk. Nothing we could do about this, right? But this is the issue I'm having with the direction of the team. And this is the premise. What in the hell is the direction of the team? We'll get more into it. Let's finish the article. Again, they were just kind of slow, dragging their feet. I know they felt they had something, but I mean, the offers that we were seeing from San Francisco were just not comparable to anything we were getting elsewhere. We are happy where we ended up, but that was one of the teams that wasn't super aggressive. They just kind of hung around. Diamondbacks agreed to the 6-year deal. Giants wouldn't offer as many years, nor were they even remotely close to the $200 million mark. 3 weeks before, they added Willie Adames. Adding Burnes would have fulfilled the team's offseason emphasis on shoring up the defense and the pitching core. Yes. Yes. That's what I've been saying. Right? Pitching and defense. A lot of people, a lot of Giants fans out there, right? Say the same thing. Pitching and defense. But no one at the start of the runner would have pegged Arizona as Burnes' ultimate destination. That includes their manager, Torey Lovullo. It was a beautiful thing, says Lovullo. Savage move. The move took the industry by surprise. Whoa, hold on. What? Look. I'm not industry. I'm nowhere close to industry. Nowhere close to industry. But let's talk about this. It took the industry by surprise. Yeah. Yeah. Why not? Let's go down memory lane. Oh, no! Shit! Corbin Burnes to the D-backs, guys. Oh, shit! Oh, shit! God! Corbin Burnes to the D-backs. John Heyman. God, dang it, man. Oh, no. Opt out after 2 years.
Oh,
Vince. Where are you, Vince? I can't believe it, dude. Son of a bitch, dude. All right, Lane, right? So, again, let's get back to the article. There was the surprise, right? Never forget this. I will. Sitting here getting ready to shut down the show. Had Dealey, had Vince in the room there with me. Ready to close it down, and then that little nugget dropped. The Giants and the Blue Jays were thought to be the front runners at that point. For sure. Great Park ties to the Bay Area with college, and that would have given them a really good staff. I'm glad it worked out the way it did. He's in our division rival. Man, dude. No shit. No shit. Look at that. Even Zach Gallen thought he was going to the Giants. And he listed off the issue or the whatever. Exactly, Mark. I'm seeing what you're. Yep. I didn't even know he was a possibility for us at center field or Corbin Carroll. It sort of came out of left field. We all thought he was going to be coming to the division, but I didn't think it would be for us. See? Even Corbin Carroll probably thought he was going to the Giants. Coming to the division, there was only one team he was going to come to on the West Coast, right? And that was going to be the freaking Giants. Nope. That's a game changer, said Randall Grichuk. Now we got two true aces. If you want to make a deep run in the postseason, you need to have. Merrill Kelly. When it popped up on that morning, it definitely took me by shock. Burnes said he preferred Arizona for family reasons with the house and area already. So no, Giants. Another free agent target missed. What a joke. That shit just pisses me off. That shit just pisses me off. That off. Merrill Kelly? I don't know how old Merrill Kelly is. I have no idea. So there we go, guys. Now talk to me. So what was... Here we go. Let's look at this one more time. And this is Corbin Burnes. The Giants weren't one of them. They were just kind of slow dragging defeat. Dan, yeah, look at that. Is it me or does it seem like Susan Slusser has recently come out with some strong articles not putting Giants ownership in such a great light? Yeah, I think a few of them kind of been doing that, right? No, absolutely. Dave. Gosh, how come I forget his last name? From SF Gate. Tobner. Dave Tobner. He's come out with some really good articles against the Giants. That was just what I don't understand. Again, guys, what is the direction? Let's get into this because I kind of was alluding to that as we were reading the article. So what was the direction of this team? If you were willing to spend a lot of money on a third baseman, a lot of money on your shortstop, wouldn't it have made sense to spend a lot of money on one starting pitcher as well? Considering that was kind of the focus that you guys have been talking about, pitching. Again, Corbin Burnes checks quite a few boxes when it comes to pitching, so to speak, right? Giants had the money to do it. They had the money to do it. So I'm not understanding. And Rick, he's talking about it. Giants have no direction. I saw a senior. I think you set it up here. Let me find you. There you are. What's up, senior? What is the direction? If you aren't going to go for it, then why are you hanging around anyone older than 28? I don't think there were any red flags, Dallas, because Arizona was able to get him. They just weren't offering the amount of money that he was looking for. So that begs the question: if the Giants offered around what Arizona offered, maybe a little bit more, I think he would have come to San Francisco. It's very odd. It doesn't make sense. If $151 million on your third baseman and $182 million on your shortstop, why wouldn't you spend some money on why wouldn't you spend your money on a pitcher who's a strikeout? And granted, his strikeout percentage is going down, but he's a ground ball pitcher that will 100% play in Oracle Park and majority of the parks. Right? Granted, there's going to be a few parks out there. Doesn't. I mean, it's just. I don't understand. And again, I fault the organization. This is the problem. I fault the organization because they need to stuff done. You showed the propensity to open the bank for your third baseman and shortstop. Why weren't you for a damn starting pitcher? Honestly, if you think about it, would you have not wanted Corbin Burnes and Logan Webb as your 1 and 2? Just saying. Dilly says, look at our young pitchers. And you know what? There's still plenty of room for those young pitchers. There's still plenty of room. If you had signed Corbin Burnes, you could have had Corbin Burnes, Logan Webb, Harrison, and Birdsong. You had it. Move Hicks to the bullpen. That's all you had to do. And there is young pitchers fortified. It's 2 of them who have won some. I would have taken that all day long. Ray, Harrison, Birdsong. I'm good. I'm good, man. You're gonna be in some games. No. Dilly, get the hell. Get Hicks out of there. Just get him out of there. If you can't sit there and say, then Hicks got the job. Then move him to the bullpen. Because one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to have Burnes blocked by Hicks. And neither would I want to have any of my young guys blocked by Hicks. Yeah, it might be getting spotty because I'm yelling. There, how's that? Is that better? I got the microphone a little bit away. I'm being a little bit loud. I don't care what Hicks may become. We have the young guys. Why block the young guys? Put Hicks where he freaking succeeds, and that's in the bullpen. I mean, this isn't going to be the rotation, but I'm just saying, if you had gotten Burnes, the rotation would have been that much better if you had riding with Hicks. Yeah, right, Dan. Exactly. I'm not disliking Hicks. I'm saying you put him where he could succeed. I'm not shitting on Hicks. I'm not saying I think he should be a starting pitcher. That's all I'm saying. In the bullpen. But, of course, that's not going to happen. Gotten burned. Again, if you put Hicks at 2 spots. Thanks, Mario. I mean, it's just... Again, guys, you got to confuse. You act like I'm hating on some of these guys, and I'm not. I'm just saying, put them into positions where they're going. If they succeed, guess what happens? The team is going to be better for them. That's all I'm saying. Don't confuse the fact. Give me it. Yeah, exactly, Mark. And that's what I thought was going to happen. Oh, yeah. Hey, absolutely. Dilly, absolutely. Again, we're talking counterfactual. We don't know, right? Until the season begins, right? Again, and look, we're talking about the past. None of this is going to come to fruition. All I'm saying is I would have much rather Burnes, Webb, Ray, Harrison. I would have been fine with that. Because you still get that your top 3 are still pretty damn good. I'm okay with that. Again, with Hicks, we just don't know. Now, Hicks could come out. He could come out this season and he could come out and deal. He could absolutely do that. I'm just saying, if you were going to get a Burnes, I would have had no hesitation whatsoever of saying, Hicks, my buddy, I know you want to be a star. The betterment of the team, you're going to be in the bullpen. That's how it works, man. You got to make those hard decisions as a president of baseball operations. You got to sit down. You got to have a talk with them. Hey, for the betterment of the team, this is what we're going to have to do. That's what you do. Yeah, to be honest with you, I hated opt-outs. But unfortunately, that's just the name of the game. Hindsight 2020, maybe you should have just taken the damn opt-out. Those aren't going away. That's just part of the structure of contracts these days. Again, think about it. It's an opt-out after 2 years. If he thinks he could get a third, if the Giants paid him enough, maybe he wouldn't have had the opt-out. That's a possibility, right? If the Giants paid him a little bit more than what Arizona was paying him, maybe he decided not to have the opt-out. But the problem is, this is the deal. The Giants weren't even close. That's the moral of the story. They weren't even in this. They weren't being aggressive in any way, shape, or form. So it doesn't matter whether it's an opt-out or not. See, you're answering the same question I am. So opt-outs were even off the table because the Giants were anywhere near in what they wanted to offer. Yeah, that's what Boris said. We don't know. We're talking about, hey, Burnes. There's quotes from Burnes in this article. It came out straight from the horse's mouth. Period. It doesn't matter what Boris says now or what Boris said then. This is what Corbin Burnes is talking about. The Giants weren't aggressive. Period. Do I have to read this again? We had some teams that were aggressive. The Giants weren't one of them. They were just kind of slow, dragging their feet. So there was no talk of any opt-out whatsoever. Zero. I can't understand why the Giants are doing this. The Giants had the money to spend, and that's the issue. That's the biggest issue, is the Giants had the money to spend to get a really good pitcher, a Cy Young. The Giants would have Cy Youngs. Yes, they still have 2 Cy Youngs, but we got one that could have gotten a couple of more. I just don't understand. Again, I don't understand what's going on. Hey, what's up, Mike? Here we go. We've got to recognize players see a new Major League Baseball collective bargaining agreement coming in 26. That's the era of new money. That's a new era of money. The opt-out was common sense. There you go. That's fair. Mike. I like what you're saying, Mike. That's good. Because next year there's going to be a lockout. 100%. They're saving money to rehab the Coke bottle. Can we agree that pitching is their problem? Yeah. I already said it. I said it from the very beginning. I said it after the last CBA was signed. There's going to be another freaking strike or a lockout in 2026. It's coming, man. There's no doubt about it. There's a lockout. You know there is. It's coming. Whether we like it or not, it's going to suck. What's up, Golden Dodgers? What's up, man? Yep. I would have done that, Cole. But the Giants weren't close. Would you have? Cole, would you have? Would you have signed that contract, Cole? Here's the problem. Oh, it's 12. It's on December. Okay. So look, this next offseason is going to be the offseason of what is that? 2022, 2021, 2021. Remember, no one could sign anybody. What's up, Eddie? Hey, look at this. For almost a month, everyone, that's me. Sources, players, fans, even their moms said bombs to the Giants is a layup done. Yeah. Now we're supposed to believe they weren't aggressive. Don't know if they're... well, we're talking... This is coming from Corbin Burnes. Eddie, this is coming... This isn't just speculation. This isn't a reporter saying this. This is coming straight from Corbin Burnes. And that's even more discouraging. This isn't coming from Boris. This isn't coming from a reporter. This isn't coming from a source within inside the organization. This is coming. Oh, shit. You know what I got to do? I got to upload this. What am I doing? How can I forget? This is going to be fun. For those of you who missed it yesterday. He's not sugarcoating it. Yeah, I believe every word of it. Yeah. Again, coming from the player himself, right? Thanks, Alive. Appreciate it. Again, I don't do that enough. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. We try to get to them as many as we can. I think I missed a few of them during my birthday. I have to get to those. Sorry about that, guys. Thanks. What's up, Cliff? Hey, we do have some positivity, though. I broke this out last night for those of you who haven't seen it. Hey, Giants got themselves a DH.
Encarnación, 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 Encarnación.
There we go. We got a DH, right? Oh my gosh. We'll see how long it lasts, but it's fun. It's fun to do those videos. Hey, you got to have some kind of positivity, right? If you were Burnes and you signed with someone else, of course you would say other teams didn't try hard enough. You think so? There you go, Mike. See? There you go. It gives you some good vibes, right? Anytime you hear Jack Black out there singing, dude, come on. Come on. Oh, guys, I forgot to tell you. Yeah, Glenn isn't with me today. He had a long night and day doing his radio stuff. So he bowed out for tonight. So I'm just taking it. I'm taking it for tonight. So, but he'll be back tomorrow. Again, he's just got to get some rest. Thanks, Sleepy. Appreciate that, man. Nacho. Yeah. What's up, Mike? Is there any other news out there? Well, I know there's news out there, but it's. One second. Oh, I had to answer something. All right, my bad. I had to answer something there. All right. Yeah. What do we got? All right, let's get this out there. Okay, nothing. You know what? Throw the link out there, guys. How about that? How about that? Let's get the link out there. I tell you what, though, we want to talk a little positive. For those of you, if you want to join the link, we could talk about the topic at hand. We could talk about other things too. How about Jung-Hoo Lee in Joao Encarnacion? Both of them doing pretty damn good. Robbie Ray, again, had a fantastic outing. All the starting pitchers have actually been doing pretty damn good, guys. I'm pleasantly surprised in what we're seeing in spring training. And that's all we can ask, right? Until games are played, all you can do is hope to see some guys out there and get the stuff done. So, yeah. Encarnacion is the best hitter in spring so far. Yes, Mike. Yes. Again, it's practice. But he's doing what he's supposed to do, man. If he's trying to earn a spot on the roster and get playing time on said roster, then he's doing exactly exactly what needs to be done. I'm glad to see it, man. Jung-Hoo Lee, man. Oh, Jung-Hoo Lee. Answer me this, guys. Jung-Hoo Lee, would you rather have him lead off, or do you want to have batting third in the lineup? With that, let's bring in Dilly. What's up, Dilly?
What's up?
It's
I
going,
love
man.
talking about spring training. I'm pumped.
Yeah, there you go.
It's been everything I wanted it to be, basically. Actually, it's kind of, I think the spring's actually exceeded my expectations thus far. Especially on the pitching. Well, I guess on both fronts. The pitching front in particular, but I guess on the bats as well. I know it, for the most part, it means nothing, but you can also look at it, like, I always like to look at the rosters that they're going up against. So if they're going up against, like, oh, woo, it's the Angels AAA team, it's like whoopee-doo.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're playing against, like, actual starters or whatever, to an extent, I take that a little bit more seriously. Like, the other day, what was it? I think it was, I can't remember if it was yesterday or the day before, something like that. Like, the lineup that the Giants threw out when Robbie Ray most recently pitched, like, that's a lineup we're going to see. Like, that was a legit, actual, like, put together lineup.
Okay.
Sans Ramos.
Yeah, because
he's obviously not back. So let's say you pop out Flores. I think the lineup had Lamont DHing, Flores at first, and then Encarnacion in left. So you just kind of shuffle those guys around, take Flores off, put Lamont at first, and then Ramos in left and DH Encarnacion. But other than that, everyone else was like who you think would be playing. And then Sam Huff caught. So, I mean, if he wins the backup catcher role, then that's a lineup that you're going to actually probably see. Like, that's the first time I remember looking down and being like, that's conceivable.
Nice.
And I was not mad at it. Like, I felt solid about it. It looked good. And then it also helped that Robbie Ray just went out and decided to deal, that's a very good sign to me. That's encouraging that he's gone out and
he went out there with 3 innings, 6 strikeouts. It's pretty good.
Yeah, but even before that, he's been looking pretty good. I hope that changeup. I haven't actually seen him because they're not, doing the whole broadcasting thing yet.
Right.
But so it's hard to actually know what's going on with his pitches or if he's just carving up people who aren't fully ramped up yet. But it sounds like his changeup that he's taken notes from Scooball off of
it's paying off.
Working. Yeah, it's working pretty good. And I think send it. Like, if it's gonna work.
And here's the thing: what's encouraging is he's showing some command. And the thing is, he's got the stuff, right? We all know he's got the stuff.
Yeah.
The whole question was, is he going to be able to? And he's commanding, and that's going to be huge. I'm telling you, that's going to pay some dividends because the Giants are going to need him. I see you, Ibrahim, in there. I'll bring you in here in a bit.
He's mostly throughout his career just been effectively wild, like just throw high heat and let your off speed play off of that for the most part. But that's accentuated by Tommy John because that's the knocking the rust off that you have to do when you come back from Tommy John.
Correct.
Your command sucks.
The command comes back. So, that's the last thing to come back.
Is why I'm so happy that they used him the way they did last year, where they said, we're going to pitch you, and this is going to be like just you're knocking the rust off, basically. We're going to give you some starts so that you can come back and kind of get back into the groove before the offseason, build up in the offseason, and then go into spring fully healthy, good to go. So that he's not knocking the rust off going into this season or using the offseason spring training to knock the rust off. He's already done that. So now he can like fine tune and start screwing around with extra pitches and all that kind of stuff, which is awesome. That made me feel really good seeing him do that. Now we'll have to see obviously how that translates, but right now I really like he's surprised me. I thought that he was going to be one of the more like, oh, he gave up a home run. Okay. All right. Hopefully this isn't real baseball yet. So let's hope he figures that out. But for him to come out and be fairly dominant, that's encouraging because he's one of those like Max Scherzer types who goes out on the mound and wants to just kill the batter. My goal is to murder my opponent. Basically, he's got that that Mad Dog
Right.
kind of vibe.
Gotcha. That makes sense. All right. Hey, I've got a couple of guys in here. Ibrahim and Dallas Heiliker, man. Awesome. He's been in the chat. Can't wait to bring him in. I've got to hear what he said. Let's bring him both. What's up, Ibrahim?
Hey, what's up, dude?
What's going on, man? What is up, Dallas? How's it going, dude?
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, man.
Good. Hey, man, you freaking sound good. Where are you calling in from, anyways?
Me?
Yeah,
I'm
Dallas.
from Elk Grove.
Oh, you're right up the road, man.
Just
Right
up the
on.
road.
Right on. Cool. Matter of fact, I was up there. Me and Ibrahim were both up there
Yeah.
last weekend, watching some Consummate River College against the West Valley Vikings. Man, it was fun. JUCO baseball
It's
is
a good game. It was a really good game. Yeah.
A lot of offense. All right, what you
Awesome.
got? I'm going to go with Dallas first. What's it got, Dallas? What you got?
Well, I mean, just based on your topic tonight, I mean, it is confusing. Like,
Yeah, right.
it's like they weren't interested in Burnes at all.
Mhm.
And I don't understand why, because there was that need. I mean, they plugged the hole with Verlander, but they could have gone big and they decided not to. And then other questionable decisions like, trading Taylor Rogers to save $6 million. It doesn't really make sense. And now that Eric Miller is, kind of
Got some
having
finger
some
issues.
and
Yeah.
who knows, he might not even be in there this year. So, it's a little questionable. Like, they made a big signing with Adames, but then they're pinching pennies over here. So it's just hard to understand the moves here in the offseason.
Right. And as a fan, I mean, you're kind of getting pulled in different directions here. It's like you want to sit there and you want to put your support behind this club, but when they're giving you out mixed signals, like, what exactly are you trying to do here? You sit there because look, and I consider the Chapman deal, that was part of the offseason. Even though it was done at the end of the last season, that is an offseason move,
100%.
right?
100%.
You prevented him to go hit free agency, so you signed him basically for 6 years. And you would think, okay, yeah, well, now we just got to go get a pitcher. And if that's all you did, okay, I could kind of get it. I think they should have traded for an additional bat. I think that would have been awesome. But yeah, to your point, Dallas, the direction, and that's the issue I've had this whole offseason. I had all these high hopes in the very beginning. You guys seen it here on the show, man. I was pumping it. I was like, Posey's gonna get it done. I had the sonar going. I mean, I was excited. I thought something was gonna happen, and it just kind of didn't pan out. Ibrahim, I'm guessing well, go ahead, Dallas, real quick.
If the goal is to see what they got, take inventory. They don't know what they have in the pitchers in Birdsong and Harrison. So if the goal is to figure that out this year, if the goal is to figure out Matos and what you're going to do in right field, determine if these young guys, McCray and Meckler and all the M's, figure out what you have, take your inventory this year, and then next year try and go into the free agent market to fill the holes when you identify what the holes are. That could be what it is, but then why even kick the tires on Burnes?
Right.
Were they in on him or not? Or they were just, hey, if no one else wants you can come here. But
And tell me, what does that do? Does that even do anything for the said player? If they're like, you're kind of just, nah. Oh man, that's got to give bad vibes. And that's got to get also, and you hear this all the time about players talking. They're talking and saying, hey, they didn't even try. I mean, it's like they're just whatever. They obviously they needed pitching. Everyone saw that the Giants needed at least another guy that's equivalent or better than Webb. If you're going to try to do anything, because look, you're not going to the way the lineup is, you're just not going to outslug some of these teams. You're just not going to get it done. And in the recent past, they can't even get hits with runners in scoring position. So the pitching was kind of the way to go. And man, real quick, I see a PA in your background. Are you a musician?
Yeah, I play guitar and
Nice. Who's your guy? Who's your guy?
Oh, like musician wise?
Yeah.
I'm a big Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers fan.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Ibrahim over here, he loves his how come I can't think? Go for it, Ibrahim. I can't remember his damn name.
It's Beatles and Dylan.
Dylan, there it
Those
is. Yeah, he's a
those
big.
the two.
I'm big Beatles and Dylan also. So
There
Yeah.
you go. Nice.
Yeah.
All right, real quick, Ibrahim. I know you're ready to.
No.
come
It's
in.
just I've tried to calm down. Like I just like it's tax season. Like blood pressure's already high. So, but like I just kind of to echo what Dallas was saying. Like I just don't. The complaint with Farhan was we never picked a lane, right? And I think
Right.
the whole Burnes thing is frustrating on so many levels because the fact that you didn't try, right? You didn't try in earnest, right? All this talk of Chapman's talking to people and Adames, like, oh, this is just the beginning. This is
Right.
Posey's got so many things. And we're going to, like, they were in talks for Luis Robert. They were in talks for Derek Crochet. They were in talks for Kyle Tucker. Like,
Right.
you're in talks, but you know what it's going to take to get it done. So, like, I think, Eric, you've been saying it forever. I think since free agency opened, you're like, I think it's going to take 35 a year over 6 years to get Burnes done.
Yes.
And so, like, it's not like it was a secret of what it was going to take, right? So my thing is, if you're going to commit over $300 million to the left side of your infield, and the first 3-4 year, because I like Chapman as a player, I like Adames as a player. You needed a shortstop, so in a vacuum, like
Correct.
you like the Adames move,
Right.
independent of anything else. But my thing is like you look at San Diego, they got Cease last year, right? You look at LA, they went because I hear a lot of people saying, I'm high on Harrison too. I hear a lot of people saying, well, what if Harrison really busts out? And what if Birdsong? I get that, and I hope that happens, and that definitely could happen. But is it likely? Like you're kind of hoping to hit the lotto that Harrison develops, Eldridge Birdsong develops.
Birdsong.
They both deliver. Robbie Ray is amazing. A year, more than a year removed from TJ.
Mhm.
Webb's arm doesn't fall off after so many years of throwing 200 innings. Like Verlander delivers at his age 42 season. Like you're relying on all these things, right? And you look at. I know, like Larry Bear or whoever was saying, we can't worry about the Dodgers. Don't think about the Dodgers. Don't think about the Dodgers. The Dodgers last year won the World Series, had so many injuries to their staff.
Yes,
And all their what ifs work. The same what ifs we're having now, but what if Verlander hits? And what if Harrison? And what if. So they saw all their what ifs hit and said, you know what? We still need Snell, and we still need Tanner Scott, and we still need, all these people. We still need Roki Sasaki because you can never have enough pitching, right?
Mhm.
So why not do that if you're the Giants? Either rebuild, play your young guys, do what you're going to do, or go all in. Like they're trying to dodge this CBT and like skirt around the CBT. And if the opt-out was the thing, I mean, I don't think it was. I just don't think they wanted to spend the money.
Correct.
If the opt-out was a thing, that's actually the dream scenario. You get Burnes for with an opt-out after the second year. If he opts out, cool. You're banking on Harrison and Birdsong and Wisenhunt's down there getting ready, right?
Right.
So
it's a
those
bridge.
those three should deliver. And if he sticks around, okay, you eat it. If you're really a big market franchise, you shouldn't have to overthink big contracts. Like
That's fair.
we haven't.
That's fair.
Like if you want to overthink a $700 million deal or whatever, sure, fine.
Right.
But if you're overthinking 150 and 180 and 210, I'm not saying those are small numbers, but like if you're overthinking those, you're not ever planning to spend like a big market. The reason the Dodgers and even San Diego with Seidler, like the reason they took so many bigs, you think San Diego cares that the Bogarts deal was a kind of a bust? No. Like it's kind of biting them now because Seidler died, but if he was still alive, they wouldn't care. They would have signed Soto. I just don't get it. It's the same complaint I had with Farhan. And look, they're going to be a lot better than they were last year.
Mhm.
They're still going to be a good team, but everybody in your division got better except Colorado. So, even I think in your article, right, Zach Gallen was the one that said, we all thought he was going to
He's
SF.
going to the Giants. Yeah.
So, like, leader in the clubhouse, and you do nothing, right? And so I don't get it. It's the same complaint I had with Farhan, which is you have no plan. And the last thing I'll say on that's kind of being salty. I feel like Lou. But like the thing with that is say this team delivers, right? The only two things Posey brought to this team are Verlander and Adames, right?
Correct.
Like those are his two, I guess Jake Lamb, if you want to count that, right?
Chapman, I think we could count Chapman.
The extension, okay, yeah, that's fair. So if they have a great year, isn't this mostly like Bobby Evans and Farhan's team? Like,
Fair.
so if you're saying, well, no, they played loose because of Posey and he's brought this culture, which I believe, like I think they were playing tight under Farhan, then why have him as your Pogo?
There you go.
Just bring him in to be like a rah-rah guy, an advisor. The owner can go down and give as many rah-rah speeches as they want. Like,
Makes sense.
I don't get it. Like none of it adds up. Like it's a shitty equation and none of it adds up. And I hope I hope I'm eating crow in August, and I wouldn't be surprised if they start hot. Yeah, I
have no
none of it makes
bones.
sense.
Yeah. I have no
None of it makes sense.
I have no compunction whatsoever to come on here and say, hey, I said this I started off the show. I was wrong about Burnes. I thought the Giants were they were they were just, it wasn't even about necessarily the kids. The Giants just didn't offer anything.
Yeah.
And real quick, before I get back to you, Dallas, Dilly, because I didn't get a chance to talk to you about the news that's come out from this article with Slusser. I mean, what do you make of it? I mean, do you agree that do you see a direction, or is it directionless?
I think Posey is trying to build what he had when they went on their run of those foundational guys. So he's pulled the trigger on Chapman. He, quote unquote, whatever. I'm going to give him the credit. He pulled the trigger on Adames to long term, no opt out. Like you're here. You're gonna be here, and you're like, we will be watching them on TV for the next umpteen years until their contract is done. So I think he's pulling the trigger on guys that he knows are going to be everyday players who are durable, all that kind of stuff. And he doesn't want to go out and do these shorter opt out whatevers, even if it's on a pitcher. And also, in his words, loves the way our young pitching looks. And I'll go back to what I've said before. Who better to trust than Buster Posey, a catcher who has seen 3 World Series championship teams with a plethora of amazing pitchers on them, than him to trust his word of saying, yeah, I like what I see in these guys coming up. So if he doesn't want to shell out, I do like what Ibrahim said, though, about if you did sign Burnes and he does opt out after the second year, that would be the perfect case scenario, because then you can just fall back to those young pitchers. I do think that would have been optimal, because then you can avoid the Verlander signing and all that kind of stuff. The Verlander signing is just the little Band-Aid, because this year we're going to see what we have in the younger pitchers, because ultimately someone's going to pull something, get tired, have 100%. Fatigue, whatever. So we're going to see some of these guys at some point. And that's cool. That's exciting. It's not exciting to like bank on it being reliant on someone getting hurt, but regardless, it's going to happen at some point. So if you find out that, hey, maybe Birdsong needs an extra year, or maybe Harrison's not quite stretched out yet, or something like that, whatever. That's not even factoring in Roop, who is my personal favorite right now. But that kind of stuff, it gives them the opportunity to kind of work in a little bit better. And then you don't even I don't like for Arizona. Okay, fine. Sign his $200 whatever $million deal and have the opt-outs after the second year. I don't know that would fit super well for the Giants. I feel like I like the route of trusting in your young pitching based on Posey's experience, because you want to say and I feel like we can all agree, Posey obviously doesn't know exactly what he's doing in terms of being a president of baseball operations, because he's never done it before.
Correct.
What he has done is caught pitchers. So if he sees something in these pitchers, I would have to err on the fact that his experience would merit some trust in his pitching eye. Now, if he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to sign this whatever contract with opt-outs here and there and deferred money, and I don't really know what I'm doing, I just whatever, I'd be less trusting in his president of baseball operations capabilities than his pitching analysis or his pitching ideas, that kind of a thing.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I can see where you're going with that. Dallas, direction of the team. How do you, just your own opinion, what direction do you want to see? Do you want to see Giants primarily just, would you have rather seen a rebuild, or do you like the direction that they're going? Do you like to get free agents? Do you like building through the farm, so to speak?
Yeah, I
I'm
like
just
building
wondering.
through the farm. I mean, obviously that's the way to do it. We've seen it done, but their farm system right now is not exactly in the best of shape. So
Correct.
And that doesn't happen overnight.
No,
you can't
that
fix
takes
that overnight. It takes years, and you shoot yourself in the foot when you sign guys with a qualifying offer.
yes.
So that could be part of the Corbin Burnes thing. But and then back to what Ibrahim said. Yeah, we have Posey now, which is great. We still have the same ownership group,
Yes.
so that doesn't change.
Right.
And so whatever their philosophy is and their finances are, which we are not privy to, we don't know if. I mean, they announced early in the offseason that we're not going over the CBT. We're taking money off the table. So I guess we shouldn't have been surprised when they didn't go and when they're, they are 27 million or whatever underneath the cap, which is fine. But I don't know if that's because for baseball reasons, they want to see what they have. Like Dilly says, they feel confident in their young pitchers. They want to give them a chance to succeed. They didn't feel the need to go and sign somebody for 6 years. Okay, if that's the case, that's great. But we just don't know what's happening. And so, yeah, I mean, if Posey has a long-term plan to build through the farm system, and this is kind of a soft rebuild where they signed Adames because they don't have a shortstop in the system, so they had to fill that hole. But other than that, we're just going to play with our guys. Then that's fine. I'm fine with that if that's how this is going. But if it's a money-saving tactic where, okay, we haven't been profitable, Farhan spent a bunch of money on Snell, and he shot his shot, and unfortunately they came up short. Now we have to save some money, or if their real estate investments are not what they're projected to be, or maybe they're in financial trouble. I don't know. We don't know the finances of the team, so it's hard to say. But if we're just going to go with trust in Buster, okay. I mean, I'm down with that. I mean, obviously it's an improvement over what we just experienced for the last 5 years or whatever. But, and he's going to have a long leash. The fans are going to be very supportive of him. But yeah, the tear down rebuild was never going to happen.
No, not
No.
So
never,
they want to
never
see
with
that
this
attendance
franchise,
figure
no.
drop any more than it did in 2023. So it ticked up in 2024 last year. They want to see another tick in that direction this year with hopefully the Ramos and Fitzgerald and these guys taking the next step forward. And, maybe they can get on a little run and get into that wild card and start to see some, fan support again and a little bit of that excitement that has kind of been lacking.
That's good. And look, I'll tell you, I want to be excited. I do. I want to be able to watch a team and get excited and be like, yeah, let's go. But to your point, Dallas, the ownership, man, there's something just doesn't smell right there. And I don't know what it is. I hope that they're not, to a certain extent, taking advantage of the name of Buster Posey and being able to try to skate through and not, hey, like you said, trust in Posey. We had that whole trust in Farhan, and I'm not going to look, even though it's Buster Posey, he's not the same as Farhan. I get it. But I'm not just going to arbitrarily just go, you know what? Going to go with whatever he says, because if he does something weird, well, then we should as fans be able to tell, hey, that quite didn't add up. And we should be able to question it, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, you have to have an ownership who has buy-in and wanting to win and wanting to compete. Look, are you going to win every year? No, you're not going to win every year. But you could start putting things together where at least every year you're doing what you can to put out there on the field the best product and the best chance to win. And it just seems, and yeah, and to your point as well, the farm system, you're talking 5 years, right?
Yeah.
If it's good. I mean, if you're hitting, it's going to be about 5 years. He hasn't had a draft yet. So right now you're just going with whatever Farhan has drafted. So it's going to take some time. But in the meantime, then just spend a little bit of money. You don't always have to open up the bank, so to speak. But in the interim, hey, at this particular point in time in this organization, we have to pay for talent until when we start drafting and these guys start showing promise, then we could start easing back. And as those veterans start fading away, these guys could come in and then you're cooking. And it's a little bit weird. And I don't know, man. We'll see. My biggest issue
Next
is
season is when we're going to know.
And here's the thing. With that upcoming lockout, there is going to be no offseason. And it's going to be a long until they hash it out. You know how it was? Remember? Because in 2022,
that's what I was about to, yeah.
Because remember, as soon as it lifted, boom, they signed Rodon, and then that was it.
And this year, or not this year, sorry, this next CBA, I know we've talked about it before. I don't know if it'll happen, but 100%, there will be a bigger push for the salary cap than there's ever been. And it's going to be because the cheapskate owners are going to say, hey, these contracts are getting out of hand. We have no intention of spending. This puts a lot of pressure on us. And the owners that do want to spend, like the Middletons and the Henrys and, the Cohens, like those guys that want to spend are going to say, hey, look, we can't, they're going to say, like, we can't compete with Cohen and the Dodgers. Like, they spend way more than we feel comfortable spending because they've got money outside of baseball. Like, Steinbrenner's wealth comes from the Yankees. So, he's kind of strapped. His liquidity and all that is tied up in that, right? So both the cheap owners and the rich owners outside of Cohen and the Dodgers are going to push for a cap, and the players aren't going to want a cap. I wouldn't. Like, look, how much money did Vlad make without swinging his bat just by Soto getting paid, right? Same with Tucker. Same with Tucker. Vlad and Tucker, the same players they were the day before Soto signed it. We did a bunch of, remember, like we did, I think, Eric, you did a full-on like poll of, hey, what do you think Soto's going to get?
Right.
Like, and we were laughing. We were like, people are saying north of 700. What are they smoking?
I was like, bullshit. And I was wrong.
Yeah, and no deferrals. So, it just, to me, it's like, look, no team has ever said, oh, crap, we have too much talent. So sign players, and you can still, you have your draft picks. Judge was a late first rounder. Trout was a late first rounder. Like, there's too much variability. Bart was our highest pick in how long? Yeah, and I know he's having a fine career in Pittsburgh, and we kind of bossed his development. Same thing. Hunter Bishop, Farhan's first pick, got hurt, injury prone, never developed. I'm high on Crawford, right? Reggie Crawford. He's hurt. Like, I mean, injuries and everything can derail a promising prospect, just like that. So do you want to bank on that?
And that's the and here's the problem. How many injuries out of the first round picks? Bednar has been injured. Bishop has been injured. Crawford has been injured. I mean, it's pretty. The Giants don't across multiple regimes don't exactly have. I mean, the title teams aside, that was phenomenal. And to Dilly's point, that's what Posey's looking to is, hey, we did it this way. But I mean, for God's sakes, dude, like we've had prospects that were booming that went and killed people in the Dominican and then got taken off like the top 30. Like, so we don't exactly have like a great past, right? And so I just, to me, it's just stack talent. And you do that by spending, developing, drafting. Like, they're not mutually exclusive. Like the Dodgers do both. They spend. They do. And they draft well, and they develop well, and they use the international free agency market well, and they trade those prospects at the deadline to get even stronger. Yep.
And a lot of those prospects never become anything.
They become nothing, right?
Like, who'd they deal to the net? It was Kyber Ruiz and Josiah Gray, right?
Josiah Gray. They went to the Nationals.
And I was like, oh my God, they got Gray and Kyber Ruiz. Well, what are they doing?
Right.
Like, So I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird. And Dilly, how about you? I mean, you have questions about quote unquote the ownership and kind of the direction that they're trying to take as far as
it sucks. I guarantee you Greg Johnson and Larry Baer don't have a Giants jersey hanging up in their personal closet.
No.
Like that's not a thing. But Steve Cohen has a whole entire room, maybe a
100%.
basement dedicated to the Mets and memorabilia, and he probably has a cinema where he sits down and watches games that he can't attend. So it's like that's just the difference in like skin in the game that we've got going on, which that's a shame. And there's nothing there is nothing you can do about that. And so as a fan, you're just sat there just kind of crossing your fingers that you run into something or what money they are allocated is put into the right spots, which is where guys like Posey and assorted crew come into play. Like if you're given a budget and this is what we have, maybe we'll let you go over a little bit. You just got to really have faith in the guys who are in charge of managing that and putting it into players, know exactly what they're doing and are as efficient with that budget as they can be. It's an unfortunate thing to be in that situation as a Giants fan, but not having a jersey in their closet, not turning on the game on Sunday when they have nothing else better to do, whatever, all that kind of stuff. Like if you're an owner, I feel like you should have an obligation to have your nose in all of your stuff going on.
And they're the owner. They're the owners of a crown jewel franchise too. They're not the owners of like the Tampa Bay Rays.
I was
like
just about
they
to say
own the San Francisco Giants, right? Like,
yep, exactly. It's a very big franchise, and so
one of the original organizations in all of Major League Baseball. We're going back to 1883, guys.
It's someone who doesn't really care that much, but cares just enough to where it's like, all right, I'm around, but like I'm not a huge fan. Like if Greg Johnson sold his shares or whatever, and then decided, oh, I'm going to be a larger owner of the Rays, and now I'm a Rays fan. Like it wouldn't blow my mind that he just switched teams and is like, oh yeah, I was a Giants fan my whole life, but now I'm a Rays fan because I have skin in the game with the Rays. Like it's that kind of a thing. If Cohen sold the Mets or all of his shares of the Mets or whatever, and then went and bought a different franchise, do you think he'd still be a Mets fan? Probably.
Good point.
Yep.
Good point.
Yep. Good point. Hey, let's pivot a little bit. Dallas. Let's talk a little spring training baseball. I know Dilly, he's going to love this.
I'm going to love this a lot.
Who is grabbing your attention so far in spring training, Dallas? What are you liking? As far as
I'm going to steal Dilly's thunder and say Landon Roop.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy.
More rupees.
Yeah, I mean, I liked him last year, and that curveball just, it's impressive. You haven't seen one like that in a number of years. So if he continues to have a good spring, I would like to see him get a crack at being in the rotation. I feel like it would be a waste of his talent if he gets thrown as the long man in the bullpen. So I'm of the opinion he should either start in Sacramento or start in San Francisco. And that's not going to happen. They're going to put Harrison in there, and Roop will go with Jelly as the long man in the bullpen. And then he'll be first up or whatever when, someone gets dinged up. But
and you know what's funny? I asked that very question. I don't know if you saw me on Marty Lurie show the other day.
I did,
him and Glenn Kuiper. And I asked them that specific question because both of them are high on Roop.
Both of them seem fine to have him in the bullpen too. So.
Right. And I was and that's why I asked that question. Would you like to see him get stretched out in Sacramento so he's ready to be a starter? Or do you want him in a bullpen where he's not going to get that build? So if you need him as a starter, you're going to have to figure out a way to build up his strength and his innings, because he could come out and start and he might be able to go 3 innings or so, but he's going to get tired. So you're kind of that's why I was hoping they were going to say spring training, but it sounds like they're more about wanting to see him in the bullpen and the long man. That's fine. I mean, if that's how they want to feel.
There's ways to do it. Like they can have him pitch, and then when he's done with his 3 innings and relief,
go throw some more.
He goes downstairs and throws 2 more or whatever.
That's
and
fair.
They keep him stretched out if they want to go that route. But
that's fair.
I'm hoping that this competition is a true competition, and whoever is the best suited to make the team makes the team. But
there you go.
If that's the case.
Okay, Ibrahim. To piggyback off what Dallas is saying about competition, Is there a competition between Wilmer Flores and Gerard Encarnacion?
I don't think there should be. I mean, and Glenn's not here, so he wouldn't like to answer me. Because like, is anyone talking, like, not to be hyperbolic, but and I'll ask the chat, would any of you say, oh man, does Wilmer have the potential to hit 40 this year? Like, you kind of know, or 30. So let's just say 30. That's the curse, right? Like, if you look at the potential with Encarnacion, it's like, all right, he might be nothing, or he might be this really nice piece. And Flores is just, he's a solid player. He's a really good player. For a winning ball club, for a World Series contending team, he's a great player. Like, you know what you have, you try them out. For me, it's just like Encarnacion, like every day it's something.
Yeah.
Like, you know, even if it's not necessarily something that'll reflect in the stat line, he hits everything hard.
Yes, he does.
Mean, he hits and like, what was it last year when in the Mexican League? I mean, I forget how many homers he had, and
75 million.
Yeah,
like
just
6 games.
Yeah, he had like 15 and like 17. I don't care if that's in Little League and he's like saying he's 5. Like, that's impressive at any level of baseball. So, yeah, for me, I mean, I think there is a competition just because this franchise has a fascination with Wilmer Flores, but
because they're both similar. They're both right-handed bats. They're both
right-handed bats. They both don't really, they don't have any speed.
Defenders.
They have 0 speed. Yeah, they're weak defenders. I mean, they're there just to hit. And my thing is, give me the guy that is going to hit it out of the park. Like, nobody is saying, oh man, Wilmer hits a ton of doubles. Like,
no, because he's slow as crap.
He's slow as hell, right? So,
yeah.
and so I don't, and I'm biased, right? Like, I feel the same way about, I think Yaz is a very good player. I think he's a productive player. I think he's a good 4th outfielder. Yes. But the fact that he's blocking Matos, like, Eric, to go back to your last question about, like, who's kind of popping in spring training. Not that Matos has, right? Yeah, not that Matos has eye-popping stats, but I think on Marty's show, I kind of alluded to it when you were there.
Yep.
I think Yaz will be hurt at some point, and Matos will get. I'm not rooting for it. I don't wish injury on anyone, but I think Matos will get an op, and I hope he takes them, makes the most of that op, because I don't think a guy forgets how to hit. Like, he's always had good plate discipline. He's always had good bat to ball skills. And he had that one, like, 7-game stretch or 6-game stretch that week where he looked amazing. And then he just kind of fell off, and I just felt he was pressing.
And you know what they did? They moved him his spot in the lineup. He was batting
they were doing that. They were doing that all of last year. And like, here's the thing, same art. It's the same central argument with Yaz and Flores. They're good players. They're decent players. Yeah. But Encarnacion has the potential to be something that you don't have right now, which is a guy that can give another guy that can give you 25, 30 home runs. Matos has the potential to give you something you're not getting out of that spot in the lineup with Yaz, which is a guy that can hit 280, 290. Get on base. That doesn't. Yaz is so frustrating. Yes. A lot of double. And Yaz is so frustrating to watch because he'll start off slow, then he'll start to feel himself, then he'll have a hammy or a soft tissue injury, then he'll hit the IL, then he'll come back and they'll say, he's starting to find his swing again. Then he'll find it, then he'll come up lame again, and it goes on and on and on. And that's 4th outfielder stuff. Wilmer is bench bat stuff. Like, it's, for me, it's like, go with the upside. Go with the upside.
I agree.
What do you got to lose? Because you still have Yaz on your roster. So give Matos his run. If he can't do it, you got Yaz. Throw him out there. Yeah,
and you have enough guys. Like, I know I sound very negative, so here's some positivity. Like, I feel like you have enough guys that you know what you've got. Like, I think Chapman is a very solid, dependable. You know what line you're going to get. Same with Adames. I mean, I know he's new to SF. I know Lee. We didn't really see much of him, but I feel like we're all confident that he's not going to be a bust. Like, I'd be shocked if, he
comes out bats
265. Yeah. Like you kind of know what you're getting. Same with Bailey. Like, he's going to have a good first half. It's TBD if he can have a good second half. Right. And if they sprinkle in more, rest days, who knows? Fitz, I feel like I know we haven't seen a ton, but you kind of, feel good about what you've got. You know, I mean, there are guys on that squad where you feel good about, you know, yeah, this is what I expect. So why do you need more of those guys that have very low ceilings than Yaz and Wilmer? Like,
Yes.
put them on the bench and, you know, see what you got in Encarnacion. Hey, if Encarnacion is terrible and if Matos is terrible for 30 games, you can always go back to Yaz and
Completely
Wilmer.
agree.
Yeah, there you right. Exactly.
Listening to the interview with Melvin over the weekend, he's still saying that P word in every interview.
Oh, don't tell me.
Platoon with Yaz. And
Give him some
that-
runway, man.
That does
Yes.
not give Matos enough at bats. I mean, why? It doesn't make sense to have him go, you know, play against lefties when there's not that many lefties.
Right.
So he has to learn to be able to hit both sides of the plate.
Exactly.
If he doesn't get the
A
chance
baseball
to play,
player.
then
How about that?
you're
Yes.
never going to know what you have in him. So that's
you
the
know
whole
what?
point of not signing a right fielder this year, was so that you can see what you have in Matos. But if they don't let him play, they let Yaz play half the time, then you're not going to know what you have in him. And it's just, we know what Yaz is.
And
We've
you
seen
know,
it
and that,
for 6 years now.
right. 100%. And here's the thing. Why would Melvin come out and say that when Buster Posey has said on numerous occasions he wants to give some of these guys runway? It goes
Maybe
directly
he can't.
against. Yeah.
Maybe he can't come out and say, "Yeah, we're going to sit Yaz this."
Yeah,
season.
maybe.
He
That's
can come
true.
off
I
the
mean, you
bench."
did
'Cause
give him
that's gonna
10 million,
be-
right?
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
just the price. The price.
That's
tag
just the
on
price.
him.
That's arbitration. I don't see a lot of people
Yeah.
get hung up about, and I don't so much because whether he was on the Dodgers or whether he was on the Chicago White Sox, he was getting $9.5 million. It's just the way it is with arbitration. Now,
Johnson's accounting it. The Johnsons are counting it, man. They're putting that money
of
to
course.
work.
All right, Dilly, who do you like so far in spring training? It's only been just over a
That's
week now.
So hard because there's so many guys that I like. On the Gerard hype train, I keep comping him to Marcell Ozuna. He looks and is built like Ozuna. And so he's a big ass dude who's just built for power.
Swings it.
Yeah, exactly. And he has the exit velocity to back it up. It would be one thing if he was built like that and then just was kind of like, all right, you're cool. But no, he hits the ball and hits it hard. And I was watching some of his at-bats that were somehow filmed, whatever, right? However that works during spring training this year. And his batting stance, like the way he just, his appearance at the plate looks more athletic this year than it did last year, in my opinion, just based off the few clips that I've seen. It looks like he's in a more athletic state of being than he was last year, which I felt like last year he was just country hardball, just like out there swinging away, and like he was just kind of letting the raw power speak for itself. But if he can mix in some of that more of being like an actual hitter kind of approach, like a professional hitter, and he's more selective and all that kind of stuff, gets that average up, that power is going to play all over the place every day of the week. Does not matter. He absolutely could be one of those guys dunking balls into the cove from the right side.
100%.
Like I really would put a lot of stock into him because, like I said, I keep comping him to Ozuna, just a younger version, a much younger version of Ozuna. So if he can do that, if he can be more of a hitter, and which he already has the raw capability and the power and all that kind of stuff, he could get a little bit more of a selective approach and that kind of stuff. I think there will be no brainer as to him being the DH, because Flores.
Oh, did you say
like Flores is Flores?
Right.
I mean, you're gonna get what you're gonna get from him, and it's not bad. But like Ibrahim was saying, he's a bench player. He's like, that's where he's at. He's not a great defender, strictly based off of range. Like, I'm sure he can pick it fine at first, but if your range sucks, then that kind of diminishes your capabilities. He's not going to hit a million doubles because he's slow, and it's just tough. So he's a good like matchup guy, like that kind of a deal. So I want Gerard to get 450 to 500 bats this year, like a solid 450, 500 bats.
That would be nice.
And that would be legit. And hopefully, if he's hot as balls all year, then hopefully more than that. Like, hopefully he just plays and then he forces their hand. That's kind of what Eldridge was saying with him. He's like, my goal is to force their hand and make them call me up. I hope Gerard forces their hand and makes him like, I have to be in the lineup every single day. And ideally not in left field or wherever else. Ideally it's at DH.
That would make sense. And you know what? And he'll last longer because then you're not putting all that
absolutely
all that wear and tear running down balls.
The same
he's a big dude. He's a big dude.
He's a big dude.
Yeah. Same reason Ozuna has a resurgence in his career. Like the early parts of his career, he's fine. But as soon as he decided I'm just a DH, I'm going to put on 30 pounds and just hit balls over the fence. That's like, if you look at Gerard when he played on the Marlins, you would literally not recognize it. You would physically not recognize him.
That is such a good point.
He looks like just a dude, dude in the outfield, whatever. And then something happened between, something happened between when he got dropped by the Marlins, went to Mexico, and then got signed by the Giants, and he turned into Marcell Ozuna. So, like, I want to see that just happen.
Nice. Okay, real quick, Hiroku. He talks about declining his arbitration. Here's the issue I have with that. Yaz is the prototypical bench outfielder. He is your perfect fourth outfielder. Awesome glove. He bats from the left. So if you have to pinch hit, he goes in there. If you got the lead, you throw him out there in the 8th or 9th inning, and he locks down that defense in right field. Prototypical bench fourth outfielder. And that's the going rate. I mean, that's just the going rate. There's nobody else that the Giants have that can fulfill that position. You do not put young guys. You do not put a Luciano as a fourth outfielder. You don't put McRae as a fourth outfielder. You have to have that veteran who's used to coming off the bench cold and putting a bat in his hands and going out there and taking care of business, or putting a glove on his hand and going out there and playing defense. That's why I'm okay with paying Yaz the $9 million, because there's no one else you're going to find for that price, really. I mean, as a fourth outfielder, that's about the going rate, right around there, right?
Yeah,
you might have been able to get maybe a little bit cheaper, but he's a prototypical fourth outfielder. Again, just don't have young guys out there, trying to come off the bench cold. It's tough, man. You got to be in the league a while to be able to do that. Not a young kid. Hey, next topic, real quick, guys.
So,
go ahead,
real fast here. Now, this might not be popular on this channel, and I might get banned when Glenn gets back. But is there a situation where Wilmer Flores does not make this team?
Unfortunately, no. Unfortunately, no way.
Probably not.
Is there an at-bat that Wilmer would take that you wouldn't rather have Gerard take?
No.
Right? And then defensively, if you've got Casey Schmidt on your team, he's going to play at third base if you need to fill in.
Right.
First base, you've got plenty of options. Encarnacion could play first base in a pinch, if you need it for moving guys around or whatever. I don't really know that Wilmer is necessary on this team, or that even he's going to play that much if he's on the team. Now, he was the best hitter on the team in 2023. He hit 23 home runs. 284, good season.
Yeah,
but it's not.
That's
a testament to how bad that team was.
And here's the thing: it could be a very well, as you said, because you think Wade's going to play more because he's left-handed. You see more right-handed pitchers, like you said. So the only at bats Flores is going to get is a DH, but because of the spring that Encarnacion is having. If those numbers were switched, if Flores is hitting like Encarnacion, there'd be no doubt about it. It's Flores, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now it's again, like you're saying, Dallas. Now it's Encarnacion who's coming ahead, who's going out there and getting it done in spring.
Right.
Does it make one or the other vulnerable? Right. And then he's younger, of course. So, yeah, I mean, there could be a possibility. I don't see it.
Flores is making what, $4 million, something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
well, they shipped out Taylor Rogers for more than that.
Yeah,
so
they did.
I keep saying that they got rid of $6 million for something. So, I keep saying it's going to be Tom Murphy who goes bye-bye. Like I would.
And he's got to go bye-bye. That dude is rarer than the Yeti, Bigfoot, whatever.
Exactly.
Dude, he never plays, and he's the reason you dump Bart.
Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm.
Hindsight. Yeah. Okay, guys, real quick. Let's talk about this. Talked about it a little bit last night on Hot Corner. Yeah, I don't mean to be hyperbolic. Is Bryce Eldridge the first baseman of the future? Or do they find a new position for the kid? Because I have not seen him play first base once in spring training. I don't know if that means anything. He's DH'd, and then and he hasn't played in a game in quite a while. Again, he's young, so hey, you got to do whatever you got to do. But do you need possibly to be looking at a different position for Bryce Eldridge? Dallas, start with you.
Well, that would be pretty bad if that was the case. I mean, they already Luciano, they screwed him up so bad.
Yes, they did.
That if they are at the point where they can't decide if a guy can play first base or not, I mean,
yeah, right.
I would think they would have to know with all the talent they have, first baseman, former greats that they have in the organization. And I did hear your conspiracy theory about JT Snow not saying anything.
Yeah.
Left and all that.
Interesting, isn't it?
I mean, the first baseman will tell you that it's a tough position and you have to be really good to play first base. But in general, I think people can learn to play it. It's like, it's not the hardest position on the field. He's not out there trying to pick it at shortstop or make the long throw from third or anything like that. The only question is, do they want to move him to the outfield or have him stay at first base?
Right.
Generally, people can play at first base if they're not that good of a defender. And he just has to learn. He's just never done it before.
Right.
He's was a pitcher and an outfielder, and they see him at first base. So it might take him a whole year in AAA to learn the position and to feel confident in it and to get his 100 games or whatever.
And here's the thing. If halfway through the season, if he ain't getting it, then you need to, because otherwise you're wasting a whole year just throwing him at first base. That's the thing I don't want to do. Because if his bat is ready, but he doesn't have a position, he's kind of on a short leash as far as a position, right? Because you don't want to waste. Granted, you got to give him enough to see what he can do. But man, Ibrahim, what do you think? I know we've been talking about me, you, and Senior in text.
Yeah, I kind of like Senior's idea. I mean, like I agree with Dallas. Like, first, in theory, shouldn't be that hard to play. I mean, I know he's 6'7", and I'm trying to think. Like, did Richie Sexton play first? He was 6'8", right? He played first, I think.
I'm not sure.
I think he played first, and I think Tony Clark played first, right? And he was like 6'7", I think. 6'8".
Brendan Belt. How tall? Brendan Bell was pretty tall, wasn't he?
He's 6'5".
Yeah, see,
6'5".
I'm surprised they didn't bring Belt in.
6'4", 6'5".
And Dilly is kind of he's kind of getting what I'm getting to, is just like, why not bring Belt or somebody? Because I think it's not that Eldridge isn't an athlete, and I don't think first is that hard. So you see so many players get converted to first if they're bad defenders, but I think just his size, it makes it harder to dig out balls in the dirt, and he's learning from scratch. I know Senior said, like, hey, throw him in the outfield. He moves well.
He's got an arm.
Got an arm. Not much is going to get over his head. Like, I think the most sensible approach is, Eric, kind of what you alluded to, which is, hey, start him at first in the minors, and then about halfway through the season, if it ain't cutting it and his bat is playing, move him. Find a position. Like, if the bat plays – try him in the outfield, try him at first. And if he can't do either, you have a very, very young DH. I mean, It sucks to DH someone that young, but I mean, it's just, you don't really have an option. Like, if his bat plays, those are the two spots you can try, is first and, the outfield. So
that's it. That's the only place.
Now Gerard's your first baseman.
Gerard.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. See if you can do it.
But and I'll wrap with this, is just, you cannot have a Luciano situation.
No.
Like, everybody that kid was I think from when they signed him, like when he was 16, they were saying, man, he's going to be a really athletic shortstop, but a lot of people aren't sold on him being a shortstop in the majors. And the Giants apparently knew something the entire league didn't.
What was that?
Tried
Wishful thinking?
Yeah, like
Farhan,
there's a
Farhan at the beginning of the season last year said he's going to be a starting shortstop.
and what happened? And what happened? Back issues, right? And then if you want a snapshot of Luciano as a shortstop, just watch the Pirates series.
Oh.
Like just watch, and you will cringe anytime a ball went toward Luciano. So I go, you saw that in the minors for how many years and said, that's our guy. Like that's going to be our shortstop, right?
But it
so
got in
you
his
cannot
head too. He
It did.
was kind of a head
No,
case
he did.
there,
He 100%.
He was rushed
100%
up because Farhan was trying to save his
100%.
job.
100%.
No,
If this guy
100%.
could come in and be the
100%.
miracle, then
100%.
great. But yeah,
But it's
did not
1,000
work.
times harder to save a prospect than to
Yes.
just do it the right way. And so with Eldridge, give him runway at first. I don't think a bad spring or anything at first should wipe that out.
I agree.
But if I'm with you, Eric. If halfway through the season you ain't cutting it, move him to the outfield, see what he can do there. If he can't do that, then you've got problems.
Yeah, Dilly,
You've
is
got
he your
problems.
first baseman? Is Eldridge your first baseman?
I am on the same boat as all of you guys.
Okay.
I like that idea of sticking him out and giving him a chance, because he said in one of his interviews, he was like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing at first base, but I'm getting there. And I think he's got a good head on his shoulders as well. I think he's got that killer mentality of I'm here to play in the major leagues. I don't want to be kicking it around in AAA. I'm here to be on the major league roster. So if that means improving my first base capabilities, that's what it is. And he is a tall ass guy, obviously. So he was saying that he's having not trouble, but like he's trying to get used to adjusting to getting more through his legs, getting down through the ball, all that kind of stuff, fielding at first base, which that's all stuff that you just have to learn if you've never done it before. And it's also, he's a tall dude. So there is a massive benefit to having a very large first baseman, because that is a big target. That's why Belt was so good, because he was a big target over there. He could make those plays that normal sized human beings couldn't make. And yes, the stretch, you steal outs the farther and closer you can get to the ball, picking it out of the air.
Belt was a pitcher too. So why? I don't know.
Yeah,
why.
exactly. So
why did they have Belt rather than JP Snow?
Well, Belt Belt literally had baby giraffe hats made because of how awkward he looked in the outfield. And I reach out in the outfield. Something screams at me that he's going to get hurt all the time.
That's fair.
And I do not like that. And so I'd rather him either figure it out at first or just be a DH. You're not going to play anything else other than a corner outfield or a first base as position goes. So just figure it out or don't, and then DH. And then, if you need to look at different options, like if Gerard hits 30 bombs this year and Eldridge sucks at defending at first base, then see what happens. See if Gerard can, because Gerard profile, like his size profiles as a DH, that's fine, or as a first baseman. He's basically Brandon Belt. He's built a little bit differently. He's built a little bit more top heavy than Belt was. Belt was a lot of legs. And so he could absolutely fit the profile of a first baseman if he has the glove to come with it. And he's not quite as tall as Eldridge, so whatever. And you don't need to be a speed demon, whatever. You just have to be competent in terms of range at first. I mean, Pete Alonso, for goodness sakes, right?
Right.
If your bat plays and you're not like going to actively hurt your team defensively at first, then so be it.
Fair.
And that gives you the best of both worlds.
Glenn Kuiper made a great observation when I was over there. Bryce Eldridge played no other sport. He didn't play basketball. He didn't play soccer. He didn't play football. All he was baseball. And in baseball, all he was a pitcher. And that was it, right? Pitcher and a hitter. That's pretty much what he was. I don't know what position he fielded when he wasn't pitching, but he said he doesn't have that footwork. And you have to have that footwork when you're on the infield to a certain extent.
PFPs only go so far.
And that's the thing. He is starting literally from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
The good thing is He's still young, so he could kind of figure it out. But yeah, having that footwork is key, because if you don't making those hops, hey, you're gonna have a tough time there at first base.
But
he's
let me
only 20.
Yeah,
so
right.
Correct.
The upside
there is that little
there.
wishful thinking bug that comes in your ear that's like, oh my gosh, he hit a 450-foot home run. Maybe he can figure it out at first base. Like by some miracle, he could break camp with the team. It's not, doesn't serve us best.
It doesn't.
Best, give him the time to develop.
Do it right.
Yes.
The right way, 100%. Because the last thing you want to do is screw this kid up, because the potential is there. And gosh, I would hate to see them. And to your point, Dallas, and also Ibrahim, you cannot give him the Luciano treatment.
No,
you just can't. All you're going to do is just, because it's not just how they treated him, as his position, as his talent, but his head. He became a head case because of it. I mean, and if you don't have, I mean, baseball, right? Between the ears, it plays a huge part in this game. And you start tinkering with that stuff, man, that's hard to come back from.
That's why Ramos is so impressed. They did it to Ramos. Like he got yo-yoed up and down, given up on. I will say with Eldridge, just real quick, wanted to get your guys' thoughts, is how much of this is just because we're so hungry for a star, right? We're so hungry for that.
That's what it is.
We're this dude is brand new to the position. He's young. He's 20. Everything you guys have been saying, and we're watching every move. He bobbles a ball. Oh, does he have it? Does he not have it? Kind of the same with Luciano. Like we're so desperate for that guy that we reach on everything. Same with kind of like with the pitching, right? Like I like Birdsong, I like Harrison, but like we're so desperate for them to pan out that we overthink every little thing they do. And it's like, hey, some of it is just growing pains. Like some of it is just there's a microscope. And 20 years ago, spring training, like you wouldn't be getting daily updates on Bryce Eldridge or fall league or fall ball. Like you wouldn't be getting all that. So
and let's not forget, he's he doesn't do him. I like the confidence, but he comes out, I want to be that guy. I want to be it's like, well, you got to be careful when you make comments like that. You best bring it, right?
And
I'm just saying,
I want that. I kind of, because we don't have that. We
have for sure.
We have the
just gotta be careful.
We're good guys and we're just playing baseball and it's fun let's hold hands, guys. It's like I want someone to come out there like the Robbie Rays, Max Scherzers, those kinds of guys who go out there and say, I want to throw 100 miles per hour next to your nose and then break you down with a slider just to prove a point. Like I want to absolutely ruin your psyche when I am playing against you. Like, and I think Eldridge has that. I think he has that every single time I'm going up to the plate. I want to make this pitcher feel like he's pitching against Barry Bonds. I want this pitcher to go home and think about me when he's having dinner. Like that's what we need on this team.
Right.
Yeah.
And
you say that though, and then you get up there and strike out 8 times.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what we don't need on this team.
That's what we don't need.
We need the guy who goes out
game.
out and strikes 12 out, Robbie Ray.
Yeah.
And the guy who goes out and hits 3 home runs in a single game. It's like we need the walk the walk, talk the talk.
Yes. And I agree. There's nothing wrong with coming out there, but you got to be able to deliver. Talk is cheap. I say that. Talk is cheap. Go out there, have your confidence, but go out there and prove it. And then it's interesting. I think he's probably going to get cut here fairly soon. I think
that's good. That's fine.
And that's good. 100%.
That's totally fine.
And I've said from the beginning, he should not be starting this season.
Nope.
He needs more time.
And don't get hurt in spring training. That's terrible.
Thank you.
Go get your reps in AAA.
To Dallas'
get
point,
coached up in spring training.
You talked about them rushing Luciano. Well, Farhan rushed freaking Bryce Eldridge. It was fantastic to watch him rocket through the minor leagues, but the guy, he leapfrogged a few levels when he probably wasn't ready to. He should have been in Double A.
In Double A.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dan said that. Dan said
I agree.
started
I
Double
saw
A. Yeah.
Yes, Dan, I agree. Starting up because that's where you're going to find majority of your stiff competition. AAA is more of your holding pattern, right? For guys just waiting for a spot to open up on the big club. But yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll be curious as to if they do that. I kind of feel like they're going to stick him in AAA and just
think so.
Because I feel like maybe they're saying, or they think that he'll get better reps at first in AAA or something like that kind of a thing. If his bat plays, it's going to play across all levels. It doesn't matter. So maybe they think their coaching staff can coach him up better in AAA for defense. I don't know, but they definitely can't. I'm fine with them shipping him out as soon as possible from spring training, just first round cut, whatever. That's
go.
Get rid of him.
Yep. But I mean, I know you brought this up, Dallas, but did you find that interesting? JT Snow, granted, it's the Twitterverse, but he was hyping him up, man, and then all of a sudden it's just kind of you didn't hear anything anymore. Crickets, right? And it's like I would thought that if he was really out there getting something done, had a great workout, and maybe just not really getting into detail, but just kind of drop a little bit of nuggets, and you really didn't hear a whole lot what was going on. And what I hope the Giants do, because there is a such thing as oversaturation of information. I don't want him talking to Will Clark, JT Snow, Brandon Bell, and all these guys where he's getting all this information. Get one guy with him to sit down, get it done. If you have to hear maybe just a few things, that's fine. But let one guy help him get it figured out and not keep hearing all these different voices, because he's just going to get all over the place, especially in a position that he's probably, I think we could honestly say he's probably not too comfortable playing first base.
Not yet.
No,
not yet.
He just needs time.
Right.
Time and reps.
Absolutely. Gosh, who else can we? I think we kind of hit everything. This is what I want to talk about. I asked this question before I threw out the link for Dilly. Jung-Hoo Lee. Leadoff or further down the line?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Where do you want to go with this kid? He's making contact. He's getting a lot of hits. He's getting all these multiple hits. It seems like every game.
He's hitting velocity too.
Yeah.
He's doing
He's hitting velo too.
Very well.
So do you want him leading off for you? Or do you want him lower in the lineup, say third? That's kind of where I think people have been pencil him in. Or do you want him batting third?
I had this conversation with my dad the other day whenever I was talking to him about just the construction of the lineup, because I brought up the fact that with the Rays start, that was that's a legit lineup. That's a major league. We could see that lineup happen in the season. And so I was saying, I understand the philosophy of not batting him leadoff. Obviously, he could fit perfectly fine as leadoff batter. Makes total sense. I wouldn't bat an eyelid if that's where he fell in. However, I don't think it's a crazy idea to have him bat 2 or 3 in the lineup, something like that, because with his ability to get base hits, singles, doubles, whatever, and not being necessarily a power hitter, he's more of a stereotypical leadoff hitter, your get on base guy. But if you have Lamont in the lineup, who his whole entire shtick in use case is the walk, his on base percentage, he doesn't have power anymore. So if his thing is to take walks, why would you put the guy who's going to get on base via a hit in front of the guy who's going to get on base via the walk? Because then it's like if Lamont walks and then Jung-Hoo Lee gets a hit, then you could have first and third. Potentially. Depends on the hit. If you put Jung-Hoo Lee on and he gets a single and then Lamont walks, now it's first and second.
Right.
So it's I see where the idea comes from of batting him lower in the lineup, because having a guy who gets on base via slappy hits or whatever behind a guy who gets on base via the walk, that makes sense. And so I that's going to be one of those things where it's we're not going to really know if it's a well-oiled machine until it's put into practice. But I do like that idea. And if Lamont's supposedly been working on his running and his hammies aren't glass anymore, or they aren't as glass anymore, then okay, fine. But And Jung-Hoo Lee, it would be another thing also, just throw this on top of it. If Jung-Hoo Lee was a 30 stolen base guy, then yeah, okay, I would say this is kind of silly not having him lead off. But he's not, and he never was in Korea, and he didn't show signs of being a great base stealer in the very small sample size we saw when he played last year. So he's not necessarily going to slap a single and then immediately be an automatic, I'm on second base now because I steal bases. So I like that. And a lot of teams are also batting, like some of their better bats higher, like way high up in the lineup.
Way high up.
Dudes that you think would be cleanup are batting second. So
like Ohtani leading up.
Ohtani bats second, right?
That's what I'm saying. It's like, that's kind of, it seems odd, but if that's just kind of the norm, then I guess it's not that crazy to have Lee batting third, batting second, whatever, something like that, behind a Lamont Wade. Because I saw a thing that was saying, like, you have Lamont, Adames, Lee, and then Chapman, which I would switch, honestly. I'd switch Chapman and Adames in that circumstance, but like just weird stuff like that, where it's like that doesn't really make sense it doesn't pass the eye test, but it could work in theory, in practice. It's just kind of one of those things where it's like you have to see it. Now, what I don't want to see is Jung-Hoo Lee, he's batting third in April, and then in May he's batting leadoff, and then in June he's batting fourth, and then like just screwing them around all over the place. Like, you need to settle at some point. Like, we need to just, this is where he's at. This is where we're going to put him in the lineup.
Okay. Abraham, I'll come to you next. But before I ask this, here's the question. And you kind of alluded to it a little bit there, Dilly. If you have Lamont Wade lead off, and more times than not, how is he going to get on base?
Walk.
He's going to walk. So now you're leading off the game with a guy at first base. How many times is he going to have to go first to third? Probably quite a few times, right? Do you trust Lamont Wade's legs to go first to third?
No.
In a lot of these situations? Or do you trust Jung-Hoo Lee? Again, I'm not taking into consideration his speed as far as a stolen base, but he could go first to third much easier than Lamont Wade Jr. That's where I'm kind of going at as far as leadoff versus the third spot. I'm talking about Lamont Wade, either third or Lee, or vice versa with first or third.
Yeah,
so take that in consideration, Ibrahim. What do you think?
If that was like, if I'm working with those parameters, like, leading off or third, I'd go, lead off with Lee just for that reason. I just don't.
Right.
To me, it's like Wade has shown, ever since he got here in 21. I mean, he just can't stay healthy. So,
right. And it's his legs.
And this team is, they're going to be better offensively than they were last year, but I still think they'll have stretches where they struggle to score because Adames is streaky, Chapman's streaky. I mean, they have a lot of streaky hitters, Bailey. And so I think there are going to be a lot of scenarios where if Wade leads off, there's going to be a lot of pressure to go from first to third.
Can't be station to station.
Can't be station to station.
Right.
Can't be station to station. And, I just think it's not going to hold, right? Like, it just is not going to hold. And they're really banking on Wade being healthy this year. Like, in spring, look at him, dude. I think he's at like 4 something on base and like a 180 batting average. Like, he's going to walk every time.
He's going to walk. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
So if you lead off with Lee, right? And, Wade could drive in runners, but even if he doesn't, right, he keeps the line moving. And, your 4, 5, 6 hitters. I mean, I'd rather that than Wade lead off and, risk him wrecking his. I won't believe that his soft tissue injuries are over until I don't see it anymore.
Correct. Right.
I have the same issue with Yaz. I mean, to me, it's like, if you've shown me that for 2 or 3 years, that's what you are. Like, it's not your fault. That's just what you are.
And honestly, that's how Wade hurt his hamstring last year. He was trying to stretch out a double.
Dude,
and it
remember,
grabbed, and his hamstring
Remember the first month and a half, he looked like the greatest hitter on the planet.
Easily.
Yeah.
He was phenomenal. Like, I have Lamont Wade he could be a huge, huge, huge piece this year, but it's just, can you stay healthy? And so if I'm the Giants, I'm like, all right, well, how can we put him in positions to be healthy? And I don't think you're putting him in a position to stay healthy if you bat him leading off, and he's trying to, get to third every time and just pull something.
really
He's
good
gonna
point.
come up lane.
So you would
You know.
prefer to see Lee lead off then? Is that
I
what
would
you-
I would prefer to see Lee lead off, because with Lee, like, he's gonna put the ball in play,
Uh-huh.
and good things happen when you put the ball in play.
Yes, it does.
So,
He doesn't strike
you know,
out, right? He doesn't
he
strike
does
out.
not. He does not.
And if
He does not.
And again, put the ball in play. Again, I'd
Hey.
rather see him at first base with guys coming
Yeah.
up, and he's going to be able
Yeah.
to run around the
Hey.
bases.
And the last thing I'll say on that is putting the ball in play in today's era of baseball. Like Posey's always preaching pitching and defense. Not a lot of teams do that. A lot of teams are just trying to put out the best lineup they can. So you have a lot of vulnerable defenses that you're going to go up against. And so if you've got a leadoff hitter that just puts the ball in play, more often than not, like, good things are going to happen. And having Wade at 3, I don't think it's the worst thing. Like, he'll
I don't
either
think it
knock
is
him
either.
in, or he'll keep the line moving. At
Right.
worst, he's going to see like 9 pitches, and
Right.
your 4 hitter is going to come up having a really good idea of what to
Yes.
see, especially the
Correct.
first time. Especially the first time through the lineup, when you're
Right.
trying to see as many pitches as you can. So, I think a lot of Wade's strengths still get accentuated at the 3 spot,
At the 3 spot.
and you control kind of some of his injury concerns. So
There you go.
Is that
Valid.
Adamas at 2? Assuming
Yeah,
that?
Adamas would be at 2.
yeah,
right?
I'd have Adamas at 2.
All right.
So, I mean, I'm kind of old school, and in my book, you put your best hitter at third, hitting third, and that usually that hitter has some pop. And to me, that's Ramos, that's Adamas. It's one of those guys at third. To me, Lee does not seem like a traditional third place hitter to me.
That's fair.
As an alternative, yeah, I could see Lee leading off. I liked him there last year, but I could see Fitzgerald leading off.
Okay.
You get him on base. You've got
True.
speed there. And then if Lee is coming up behind him, then that puts a lot of pressure on that defense, because you got speed at first, putting the pressure on them. He gets the ball in play. Good things are going to happen with the speed guy, with your fastest guy on the team at first base. So I kind of like that idea. Plus, Lee is a left-handed hitter. That means that with the first baseman holding on Fitzgerald, that opens up that hole on the right side of the infield, and you're going to see a little bit extra, room to move there. So,
Okay. That's fair.
so what do you do with Lamont? Maybe put him down at 9 so that you have another leadoff hitter when the lineup turns over. So I kind of like that idea, but the lead batting third thing didn't make much sense to me. It still doesn't, although it worked this week, so short sample size.
Right.
It just doesn't seem very traditional to me. It seems, even Adamas hitting second, that's that new school analytics
is.
thing where they want to get the guy that extra at bat. How about you get a guy on base in front of him and get the run in the first inning, as opposed to having to wait for the last at bat of the game?
Okay. So you'd like to see Fitzgerald lead off and then Lee second,
Yes.
and then third like a Ramos or
A
Adamas.
Ramos or an Adamas, and then
Maybe Adamas.
third, 3-4.
Oh,
and
but then,
and
I
Chapman
still don't.
fifth.
I hate Chapman in the cleanup. I don't like.
You don't like
Chapman.
Ramos at 2?
I don't
Ramos-
mind Ramos. Oh,
I don't mind him at 2.
I kind of like Ramos at 2.
okay.
I
So,
like Fitz at
Fitzgerald
first.
Ramos?
I think I like that a lot. Fitz being
Fitz
lead
can
off,
bunt. Fitz
because
can
can
bunt his way on
steal,
too.
he
so.
can bunt, he's a little bit more. The thing that scares me with him is his strikeout rate.
Yeah, it's bad.
If at the end of the year, if that was just kind of like a fluky whatever thing,
That was
if
bad
that's
at the end of the year.
if that's not truthfully what he is, if he's actually not going to strike out like that, then I really like Fitz at first, because it gives you that speed and that stolen base capability, that, like you were saying, bunt. It brings a lot more of a dynamic in there that
Right.
is
And then
not
the
with
other-
a lot of those other guys.
The other thing about Wade leading off is that he's only going to play against righties. So then on lefties, Lee's going to have to come down and lead off. And there's going to be that flop where a third of the time you don't have your normal leadoff hitter. So even in the spring, that's what's happened, is that Lee's leading off when they're facing a lefty. So that is going to flip flop a lot. You're not going to see the same guys in the same spots every day, and that kind of sounds, Farhan like to me, where the lineup is not set. It's constantly in flux, and there's never anybody in the same space. Having, at the beginning of last year, it was kind of nice having Lee leading off every single day. You knew he was going to be there. You knew you were going to get a professional at bat that first at bat of the game, and it kind of got things off to a good start. And if he's having to switch it around every other day, you're not going to have that consistency.
But see,
I agree.
If Gerard, I'm not trying to dream. I'm just saying, if you go back to our early, if you go back to our,
I like it.
if you
Wait,
go,
hold on.
do it.
Encarnación, 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 Encarnación.
That makes me laugh every time, man. I love
I
it.
forgot about Gerard, so he's at 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
That's what I'm saying. Like if he, let's just say Dilly's an Oracle and Gerard has like this monster breakout season, right? Like if that happened, I mean, that makes your lineup look totally different, right?
It does.
Mhm.
If he,
Like now there's no pressure on chat. Like I think we all agree. I think this fan base is not united on much except for we hate Farhan, we hate Greg Johnson, and we all don't want to see Chapman hit fourth. I think those three things,
that sums it up right there, man.
So
I mean,
yeah.
if you go Fitz, Lee, Adames, Gerard, and then sprinkle in, you could go Chapman there, you could go Ramos there, something like that, and then flip whoever the other one would be after them, and then you've still got a Bailey and whoever your right fielder is.
But see, to Dallas's point, right? Like if Gerard, look, I have no, delusions about Gerard is definitely going to be something. I'm just saying if he was to, you kind of have, a lot of the components of an old school lineup kind of coming together. You got a guy with thump, you've got a guy with good balance in Ramos, you've got speed and Fitz, you've got bat to ball skills. With Lee, you've got a guy that walks in Wade. You've got, if Matos were to come up at some point, another guy that puts the ball in play. Bailey is not bad for a catcher, at least the first half. I mean, Adames has at least historically gets money hits. So you kind of have all the components of a decent lineup, but they've always just missed that guy that can just, when you're having a bad game and you're down 3 runs, one swing, we just haven't had that in so long. So I don't know.
Gerard. His card showed up in the mail for me today.
Hey, does Gerard does he have a Twitter?
I don't know. Oh, you got to tweet him the video?
Absolutely.
Perhaps.
Absolutely, man. If it's the same guy.
That is funny.
I got to run.
You got to let me know.
Nice chatting with you.
Oh, you got to get going?
It was a pleasure.
All right, right on.
Nice meeting you, man.
Hey, anytime, man. Anytime I throw the link out, come on in, dude. Awesome.
Sounds good.
All right, have a
Later.
good one, man. See ya.
Yeah.
All right, there was Dallas, man. That was freaking awesome, man. This is what I love about this, man. Ibrahim, you heard it. I'm exactly the same in person as I am on the show, man. I love the
100%, dude.
Damn,
100%.
dude. And
Yeah.
Daly, we got to go
Yeah.
catch a freaking, and maybe you too, Ibrahim, go catch a ball in Stockton Ports. Hey,
Sports game.
Yeah.
Where
sure.
is Joe Sar? Is Joe Sar going to start off in San Jose?
That's a good question.
I'm guessing, right?
Probably.
Like, go see some
Yeah, you
Joe
have
Sar,
to, right?
right?
Yeah. Yeah, that'd
That
be
would
fun to do.
Awesome, because he would be.
Hey, they're getting a redo at Luciano, right? That's what Josar is, right? Get a redo at the Luciano experiment. So
and the Lucius Fox experiment.
oh geez.
Mhm.
But no, that'd be That'd be fun, man. Yeah, I think I'm a bounce too. But
Ibrahim,
yeah, it
thanks,
was fun,
man.
man. Yeah, appreciate
Right
it,
on.
dude. All right,
Anytime,
guys.
dude.
Take care.
Have a good one. All right. There was Ibrahim, longtime contributor to the channel, man. That's freaking awesome. Goodness
The
gracious.
last thing I'll say before I also have to bounce, because
No worries.
it is
It's
getting
all
there.
good, man. I hear
Is you were saying earlier about who's like pumping me up in spring training. Gerard is definitely that guy. Like, I'm very happy with.
That's fun, right?
I'm
He's
very
a feel good. You
yes.
every time on spring training, you're always looking for that guy, right? You're looking for that guy that you can root for, the kind of like the unsung hero. But yeah, freaking awesome.
Yeah, I absolutely, with all of my heart, hope he gets a significant amount of at-bats and is good to go. And is not playing left field or something stupid like that. Like, it's DH at-bats. Which means that your outfield is working the way it should be working. Because if Ramos is performing and is healthy, Lee is performing and is healthy, you're not going to have a Gerard in the outfield. You can have Yaz and right, Matos and right, whatever, and Gerard can just be your DH, and that's fine.
Right.
But I will say, and Jung-Hoo Lee also, very good to see him coming back looking strong.
Yeah.
He did a lot of work in the offseason to kind of bulk up as well. I think he's a little bit more. Everyone looks a little bit more husky than they did last year. Hicks, Lee, Gerard looks a little bit more athletic. They all look like they've got on a good program, that's encouraging. That's a very important, underrated aspect. It's like stretching before you go out and play golf. It's like
Yeah.
everyone should. So,
Right.
But Roop in particular, I think, is a close second place for me in terms of like being impressive. I think that he's like I said, he was the dark horse. Like, someone's gonna get hurt and he's gonna get called up and whatever. I hope they stick him in AAA and let him just sit there until they're ready to give him a full starting job.
Right.
I do not think putting him in the bullpen is going to do him.
I didn't care for that myself.
And I hope that Posey is an advocate for that.
Yep. And real quick before you get out of here, have you noticed you're not hearing much out of the Keaton Wynn and Tristan Beck? Yeah.
I'm not high on Keaton Wynn. I'm not a fan.
No.
I think he's a little bit. I don't know. There's something about him that I don't.
He
trust,
also
and,
tends to wear down as well.
Yeah, he gets hurt a bit, and he's also a splitter guy.
Yeah,
so
he is.
There's that, but there's something weird about Keaton Wynn that I'm not a fan of. I think Birdsong's just a better version of Wynn in a lot of ways. And I trust Birdsong more than I trust Wynn. And I don't know what it is. I don't know. Call it intuition, whatever. I'm not putting my eggs in his basket. I am sad to see that Tristan Beck is not having the greatest of spring. He's kind of been not great. Every time I see his name pop up, I'm like, I'm not feeling what's going on here. Like, I feel like you've pitched much better in the past. You've shown me much more, but it is spring. He's coming off of not having a season last year and all this stuff. So we'll just have to see.
Yeah.
Keaton Wynn, though, I would not, like, if he disappeared and was never spoken of again, I wouldn't be heartbroken.
Right.
Roop, like I said, I'm happy to see him having the success that he has. And so I'm hopeful for him to make the starting job. And I don't think Birdsong throwing 98, almost 99, whatever, topping out at that.
You got to be careful with that. It's cool, but that's not sustainable, right?
No,
that's just,
and
he's hyped up.
He's fighting for his job, and I totally get that. And so he's going to be amped up. He's going to be doing that. I took that for a grain of salt. Like, oh, he's throwing hard. He looks so dominant. It's like, okay, but he needs to not do that. Like, he needs to just like chill out a little bit and pitch. Very rarely would I be like, oh yeah, you need to dial it back a notch, but that's just nerves and whatever. So if if he's truthfully, I need to see a couple more starts from him before I like actually come to a determination of, yeah, no, I think he could be legit. Same with Harrison. Harrison looked great in his first start. Everyone's looked good. All of our pitchers have looked like starting pitchers have looked really good.
Yes. All the pitchers have actually come out, but again, it's early. They're going to be a little bit hyped up. Once they start getting a little bit more mileage on their arms, we'll see how they turn. But hey, look, all you care about, get the work in, stay healthy, get ready for the season, and let's get going.
We need to avoid the Luis Gills and Sean Manaeas and Frankie Montoses.
Luis Gill, man, did you hear the news?
Yeah, he's all done. Screwed.
Yeah, again, him and Montas, it's the same injury that Eduardo Rodriguez had last year with the Diamondbacks. And again, he didn't come back until after I don't think he came back until like the last 2 months of the season.
They linger and linger and linger. You're fine.
You can't even throw for 6 weeks. Then you got to have a spring training. So you're talking a
long time.
All-Star break. And that's if everything goes okay.
Yep, because like I said, it's one of those things where it's like you can't throw for that long.
Nope.
Because physically, maybe, okay, fine, you can. But the second you do, it's just going to kick the can down the road. You're just going to make it that much longer before you can come back. Yep. I think I'm feeling good. No, you weren't feeling good because you should have waited 2 more weeks after you started to feel good.
As a matter of fact, what they did with Eduardo Rodriguez, I remember because I had him on my fantasy team, so I was keeping an eye. They were giving him MRIs like once a month just to see where it was. And as soon as he was 100%, then they started the throwing program, so there wasn't no setbacks.
Yep. And that's the key. That is like literally the magnum opus of that whole thing is just setbacks.
Right on. Check it out. Dan going to be live at the Giants game tomorrow. Going to be over there with Los and Mark. Right on, man.
There you go.
Hey, don't cuss out the players.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, senior, don't talk shit. No, let's be calm. Calm and collected.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't
man.
think I've announced who's pitching for tomorrow yet. I could be wrong about
Dan.
that.
Yeah, I know. Dan, record this and play it when you see Encarnacion. I got to do it again.
Encarnacion.
Gets me every time, man.
Beautiful.
Every time. And hey, in celebration of the title with Corbin Burnes, hey, I got to do this one too.
I ain't as good as I once was, but I was good as I ever was. Man, you know I can't.
5 times. And they got to be full.
Oh, shit. Hell no. Get this shit.
That sucked. Oh, well, what are you going to do, right? Right, Dilly? All right, hey, Dilly, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it, buddy.
Absolutely. It's always a blast. Peace out.
You betcha. See you, dude. All right, there's Dilly. Man, thanks for the special guests, man. Dallas came in, Ibrahim, Dilly. Man, I appreciate you guys. Freaking fun. Again, especially you guys in the chat as well, man. Hey, it's fun. We're out here talking baseball. It's about having fun. I love doing that stuff. Sometimes, hey, we're pretty positive. A lot of time, hey, we call it as we see it. That's just how it is. At least I do. I call it as I see it. Sometimes I'm pissed off. Sometimes I'm upset. Sometimes I'm happy. Hey, it is what it is. It's just coming on here and talking baseball. Anyways, hey guys, enjoy the rest of your evening here on this Monday night. Dan, have fun tomorrow. Spring training should be a blast. I don't think tomorrow, but I know here in California we're going to start getting a little bit of rain coming. Oh, no, not tonight, Aaron. I don't know when. Gosh, dude. Don't even get me started on that. Don't even. Hey, I tell you what. I see what you're talking about, Aaron. Follow me on Twitter. I have been having a lot of discussion on Twitter about what's going on out there. So follow me on Twitter, and then you'll get we could discuss it on there in the meantime until my next episode, because my gosh, wow. Anyways, let's get out of here, guys. Like I said, enjoy the rest of your night. We'll see you guys again tomorrow, 8:00. Check out Dan's live coverage from spring training. Should be a lot. That should be pretty damn cool. All right, guys, be good out there, and we'll see you tomorrow night. Woo!
You've been watching Giant Sports Talk Live with Eric and Glenn, a Northern Lights Entertainment Broadcasting production.